today. If you can hear my aircon in the background, it is because it is summer in Australia and it is hot, okay? I'm hot. I'm here to talk about 5 stars versus DNFs of 2024. I have more of one than the other, and it's sad to say that it is, DNFs have more. But we're going to go over them this year. What did I DNF? What was a 5-star book, and why? I'm not going to take too long on each one because otherwise we'll be here ages, because there are a lot of DNFs, and I didn't count them all. Because there are some DNFs that I decided to go back to later, and I am planning very soon to go back to, so I didn't count those because I know I'm going to keep reading them. These are just the ones that I DNF'd that I just absolutely do not see myself ever rereading. So I've got my list. Here we go. Let's go through them. 5 stars first, because the positivity beginning, and then we'll end with all the negatives. So the opposite of what some people would say. But I don't care, because it's only like 1, 2, 3, 4. There's only 5 stars. Oh, wow, look, 5 stars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's right. Love it. Okay, so the first 5-star book came the last. I think these go in order of these are going backwards in order of when I read them. So was The Rom-Commers by Catherine Center. I loved this book. I love this book so much. I've heard mixed reviews online, but I actually love this book so much. It was fun. It was hilarious. I adored this. I don't know why people didn't like it. I thought that it was really funny, and yes, people were flawed, but people in real life are flawed too. And, people make stupid choices, but people make stupid choices in real life too. Some people were annoying, but it just didn't even matter because it was just so hilarious. Like, the quirky is like all the way up. Like, we're all the way up with the quirky, okay? But it doesn't matter. It's all right, because it's all right. We don't mind the quirky. Plus, it's a book about writers, and as a writer, I love those. They're fun. I don't know. There's something about it. It's just so much fun. So I really enjoyed that book. I liked it. Then the next one that I did was Hover Car Racer by Matthew Riley. So this was also 5 stars, and this also took me by surprise. I did not expect to enjoy this as much as I did. It was so fun. It is basically about hover car racing. Yeah, in a time when it's not just like normal race cars, it's like hover car race cars, and there's like this young guy, he's like a rookie. It's kind of like Lightning McQueen vibes, you know what I'm saying? He's a rookie. He is like, no way should he be in these places, but he is so good that he is in, okay? This guy who has absolutely no business in this race, but is so good. Him and his little partner, because like in a hover car, you have to have like there's 2 people, like a navigator and a person, like whatever. Anyway, so fun. It was such a fun ride, and something a little different. I don't think I've ever read any racing car books, and so this was fun. It was like a mixture of like what a racing car book would look like, but then also with like the futuristic fantasy elements. Loved it. It was fun. Hashtag Crime Time by Jennifer Rose. Okay, so this is specifically an audio production book story. It is specifically an audio production. So it is just a dramatization. There is no physical book of this, although I would still read a physical book of this and I would buy it. But at the moment, it's just a dramatization. It is just, something for the audiobook people. It was so fun. It was very short and it was really cute. It was these people who are following, he's running a podcast from a real life crime that is literally happening to them. Oh, no, podcast. He's filming videos for like social media. But he's literally doing it while they are trying to solve this crime and running for their lives. It was so funny. I liked it. It was really good. The last 2 are both Brandon Sanderson books. The first one is Skyward. So that was the first book in that Skyward series. And I really enjoyed it a lot. It's basically, you're following essentially a test pilot, but on an alien, like on a different planet. The humans have all gone onto this new planet, and she is a test pilot because there are these alien things that are above them. They have this protective barrier of like rubbish and stuff, like, space junk, which sort of like helps them fend off these like alien people. And so, but she's like wants to be a pilot, but her dad was like shunned. And so she like didn't think it was going to happen. Anyway, so she's learning to be this pilot. Anyway, it's so good. It's like, I had so much fun with her learning how to be a pilot. Like, there are some of these elements of like being on a different planet and then like hiding from these aliens. Majority of this book is focused on them in their human capacity down there, learning how to be a pilot and fight this war with these aliens. And so that was really fun. I started to read the second book. It's 5 stars, but I started to read the second book and it was like a little bit different. It took a little bit of a different turn. It sort of turned from a test pilot into like a Star Trek episode. And so I put that aside for now, but I am going to come back to it. The second Brandon Sanderson on this list, and the last book on this list of 5 stars, is Snapshot. Snapshot is like a novella. It's very short, but that was very aggressive, but the way that Brandon put this story together was just perfect. It was beautiful. It was amazing. I want more. I would love more of this. This is such a fun idea. Essentially, the idea is it's called Snapshot because in a place where there's different technology than what we've got now, you can essentially take what happened in the city that you live in and get a snapshot of a certain amount of hours. I think it's like a day. I can't remember. But you can get a snapshot and see exactly. You can literally go into. It's like walking into a picture of what happened, and so you're just basically observing exactly what happened, and these 2 detectives go in, and they've been licensed to go in and try and help find evidence of for the real police on the outside, and so that they can help solve crimes of what happened. And so you can literally go back and say, okay, we know the suspect was here, so let's go and we'll be in that area and find out where they went and like if they dropped any evidence, etc. And so that is such a fun idea. I absolutely love that idea. I think that was so great, and the story in itself was brilliant. It was like perfect. Like, it didn't need to be expanded, but I would love more stories because it's just such a fun idea. It's so doubtful though because Brandon is very busy at all times, writing 7 million things at once. So those were my 5-star reads. Okay, so that's 5-star. We did 5 stars in like a little bit over 5 minutes. Not bad. So now the DNFs. I will probably gonna try and not give too much information on these, only because this video will go forever, and also, you may not know some of these, but you might know some of these. So we'll just talk about ones that I think are probably the more popular ones. People are going to be like, what? Why did you like those? So the first one was it's the last one, the most recent. We Solved Murders by Richard Osman. I love the Thursday Murder Club, octogenarian solving crime, but this one I was not a fan of. It's not in that series. It's completely different. And I wasn't feeling it. It was kind of like, a bit more violent than I like, and I just wasn't feeling it. I didn't like it, so I decided to give up. Hood by Jenny Elder Moak. It was sort of like a Robin Hood's daughter sort of a situation, and I'm not a fan of that time period, where it's like that Robin Hood time period that tends to get written into, and so I just decided not to, do that to myself. 2 Dawn French books. I love Dawn French as an actress. So fun. These books were not for me. According to Yes and A Tiny Bit Marvelous were the 2 books, and I just couldn't. I'm sorry, Dawn. I don't know. They're more character studies, and I'm a plot girly, so it wasn't for me. The next one, which y'all might have heard about, maybe just a little bit, Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I don't understand why people like this book. It is literally a book that glorifies killing people, and I don't know. I didn't like it at all. Like, I get it. There are supposed to be themes in there about, important things in society and blah, blah, whatever. But like, to me, all I heard was, glorifying killing people, and I did not like that one bit, so I was out. I did make it quite a fair way through though, I think like 40% or something. Unravel Me by Tahira Murphy. I tried to read the second book in the Shatter Me series. It did not work for me. I just gave up. I was like, nah, I'm not feeling it. It sort of was going down a strange path. I was forcing myself to read it. I was uninterested. I felt like it undid some of the work for the first book, and I already didn't like the Stockholm Syndrome type of a romance thing that we had going on in that first book. So, I don't know. I just wasn't interested, and I knew that I would only be able to read the first 2 anyway, so I just gave up. The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I actually have it still on my shelf. Wait. There it is. The Naturals, it is like, it's explained to be Criminal Minds, but for like teenagers, like young adults. It is exactly that, which is why I did not continue reading it. It started to get really creepy. Like, we are imagining ourselves in someone else's shoes to the point where it's creepy and it's too far and it's a bit much. But that explains Criminal Minds. I watched 7 seasons of Criminal Minds before I realized it was messing with my brain. Like, it was messing with me. Like, I was paranoid in real life because that show is so dark and it's so intense. I was out. So The Naturals started to go a little bit too far into that territory, I felt. So for me, so I stopped. The next one was Scarecrow by Matthew Riley. Matthew made both of my lists. One that I DNF'd and one that I absolutely loved. This was the opposite. It was gory and this was icky. It was a boy book. I don't know. It was a bit much. So I did not make it very far. Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This is one that people are going to just not understand. I did not enjoy Powerless and I did not finish it. It became icky. It was icky. There's just something in there that was just ick. It's difficult to explain particularly to certain groups of people. But sometimes authors just, it's just icky. It leaks off the page. And I just was like, nah, it gives me the, nah, I can't. So that's why I stopped reading it. It wasn't necessarily bad. It's very similar to Red Queen, which a lot of people have talked about. Doesn't matter. It's different enough to be interesting. But also, it just, yeah, it gave me ick. I can't. I can't. It's the same reason that I just stopped reading Throne of Glass. Because it gave me, it was icky, and it started to get into like icky spiritual stuff. Like I can't, I'm out. The icky spiritual, I'm out. So there are a couple that I didn't make it very far into. Cupcakes and Crumbs by Melissa McClone, Just One Taste by Lizzie Dent, Last Time We Met by Emily Houghton. These are all like romance books I wasn't feeling, or there was content in there that I was not expecting, and so I just sort of got rid of those. I was not interested, and I just was like, nah, I'm just gonna give up, not gonna keep torturing myself. 1,000 Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole, which I have seen around, was super depressing. I don't like depressing stuff. I'm not interested. Malibu Rising by Talia Jenkins Reid. I tried very hard to get through another Talia Jenkins Reid book. Again, content in there that I was not expecting, and I just was not having a good time. So I put that away. Anathanaelian by H.R. Pruitt. That was an indie author book that I just was not feeling and was just confused by. We did lots of backstory for characters that just, I don't understand why we were seeing their home life if literally their entire arc is in this different world, and so that just didn't make any sense. Crater by Homer Hickman, which again is like a YA book that just was not feeling it for me. It was like people who live on the moon, but like I wasn't feeling it. Five Survive by Holly Jackson. I tried that book. The sniper who was coming after these kids in the middle of nowhere. I don't know, it was pretty dark for me, and I was like, no, I'm not feeling it. It's making me feel, because it's so dark, it just, nah, I didn't like it. Bookish and the Beast by Ashley Poston, I did try to read, but again, I was like, nah, not interested, I'm gonna give up. Babel by R.F. Kuang, sorry. Again, I just was reading it, and I was just like, yeah, I'm super uninterested. I'm not here for it. And lastly, Winter by Marissa Meyer, which is the final book in the Lunar Chronicles, which I enjoyed the first one. I loved Cinder. And then we slowly started to get creepier as the series went along. And this last one is the creepiest of them all. And it messes with your mind. So like, here's the thing. Ted Dekker is one of my favorite authors. Okay. And his books bend your brain into a pretzel, but in a good way, right? And it's theology. We're bending what you thought you knew and, into a pretzel to be like, oh my gosh, maybe everything I thought was just different. And it's great. It's a great bending of the brain into a pretzel. This was not. This is like mental illness. And like being impacted by mental illness, bending your brain into a million, and just, no, not interested in that. And so I ended up giving up. But I was like, nah, I'm not going to keep going. I'm not going to torture my own mind and, give myself a mental illness. Why would I do that? How stupid. So I gave up. And I just decided to DNF, which is a shame because it was the end of the series. I think I skipped to the very end just to see that last little bit, and what exactly happened in that last little bit. But yeah, no, not for me. So I gave up. Those are it. So, like I said, way more DNFs, which is really sad, but it is what it is, and if I don't like a book, I'm not going to force myself to read it. If it's icky and I feel like it's going to do some damage to my own mind, then again, I'm not going to force myself to finish it. And, I'm happy to read a book that I didn't enjoy if it's not icking me out so much I have to put it down, and then I just give it a low rating, because that's just the reality of books. Not every book is for you. Not every book was for me, and that's fine. And if you liked it, that's great. I love that for you, but those ones were not for me. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, you're the best. Love that. Thank you very much for the support, and I will see you in the adventures.